Good morning, Morgan, and good morning to any of Morgan's friends that have joined us for today's video. We're in 69. We're video number 69. We're just 25 videos away from the end of the series. I know it sounds a lot, but we've already done almost 70. All right, with that said, today we're going to learn about private variables. All right, so we're going to do this together. We're going to learn about this together. So with that said, let's read this manual and see if we can make any sense out of it. Oh, by the way, I'm going to start highlighting in yellow and other colors stuff that I think is something that we want to pay attention to. All right, let's do this.
Python TV69. Private variables. Private instance variables that cannot be accessed except from inside an object don't exist in Python. However, there is a convention that is followed by most Python code. A name prefixed with an underscore, e.g. _spam, should be treated as a non-public part of the API, whether it is a function, a method, or a data member.
An API is the app or program that you've written.
It should be considered an implementation detail and subject to change without notice. Since there is a valid use case for class private members, namely to avoid name clashes of names with names defined by subclasses, there is limited support for such a mechanism, called name mangling. Any identifier of the form __spam, at least 2 leading underscores, at most 1 trailing underscore, is textually replaced with _classname __spam, where class name is the current class name with leading underscores stripped. This mangling is done without regard to the syntactic position of the identifier, as long as it occurs within the definition of a class. Name mangling is helpful for letting subclasses override methods without breaking interclass method calls. For example.
Okay, so remember what we were talking about in the other video about scope and how to handle all that? Well, it sounds to me like what they're talking about here is a way of dealing with creating subclasses and getting around some of those scope problems. But I could be wrong. I mean, what do you think it means? All right, and I've got, oh, by the way, from now on, I'm going to take, if there's an example code in the manual, I'm going to create a Python file for it. And if you guys are interested in it, that way I can send it to you, even though I think with this one, it really doesn't do anything. Okay, so anyway, back to the example. Okay, so we create a class called map. Okay, and what do we have? We have two functions, the init function and the update function. All right, and what's this one doing here? Oh, it's creating a list, and then it says update it with an iterable. I don't know what that means yet. Then we have the same input to this, and then it's got a little for loop here where it calls the list, and then it appends some item to the list. Okay, and then we're going to put, I guess we're going to take this function and we're going to create another one like this. Then we go, and now we're creating a subclass of mapping, okay, where we're taking the class and now we're going to inherit all of this into mapping subclass. And then here we are. Here's the little bit that we're going to add to it to give it a little more functionality that we want. And we're not going to I'm not going to bother stepping through the code unless we absolutely have to. Okay, so that's what they're talking about, the mingling and how exactly they do it and how this is different. I really still don't understand these underscore things. I know that it has something to do with not writing over stuff that you're not supposed to write over in memory. But anyway, because we're learning together. All right, now maybe if we read on, we'll start to make more sense to us.
The above example would work even if mapping subclass were to introduce a __update identifier, since it is replaced with _mapping _update in the mapping class and _mapping subclass _update in the mapping subclass class, respectively.
Oh, so there's two updates, I guess. And we're keeping them separate? Is that what they're talking about? Anyway, let's keep going.
Note that the mangling rules are designed mostly to avoid accidents. It still is possible to access or modify a variable that is considered private. This can even be useful in special circumstances, such as in the debugger. Notice that code passed to exec or eval does not consider the class name of the invoking class to be the current class. This is similar to the effect of the global statement, the effect of which is likewise restricted to code that is byte compiled together. The same restriction applies to getattr, setattr, and delattr, as well as when referencing __dict__ directly.
All right. Well, I think this is all related to the scope issue and how they handle items in memory. Okay, and of course they don't want you to override a variable that you shouldn't be accessing, but because I guess whoever developed Python, they decided that they weren't going to hide any of the memory from the application, so that's what all this is about. And if you're a little foggy on what exactly all this means, it's okay to be foggy. Okay? Because what's going to happen is as you get out there and as you code, you're going to end up coming back to this, and then that's when it'll start to make sense, when you've actually got a program that you're writing and then you have to apply this little bit of tech into the code. That's when it'll start to stick a lot better than any of these examples. So if you're still foggy, don't worry about that. With that said, let's go to the check out the code I wrote for this video. And here we are in the code. Okay. Now, if you run this code, it really doesn't do anything. It's not really displaying anything. You're just defining stuff and creating instances of stuff. Okay. That said, okay, when you're actually writing your first program, remember how I said, hey, it'll become clear to you? That's when you dig up this code and you plug it into your code, and then you worry about figuring out how it works. So you're not starting from scratch. Okay? All right, this thing works. Okay, so it just doesn't do anything. Okay? So it's like a template. So just save all this code. Try and save all this code if you can, because you can always reuse it later. Okay? All right, and again, if you need the code, just send me an email. The contact information is in the description of the video, and if I can, I will send it to you. And with that, that's it for this video. You guys are trying not to get in too much trouble today. Don't throw rocks at each other or anything silly like that. Just try to have fun, and we'll see you in the next video.